Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, today we have a very exciting video to cover, which one that might take a little bit of time, and that's because we have the reworks of all of the leaked reworks that I had talked about last week. Well, now we're here to talk about their kits, the changes, and the winners and losers of this upcoming patch, which I believe is going to be probably towards the end of December. It's going to be after Medusa comes out. We have Corey, and then we have Miss Marvel Classic, and then we have Medusa, and then it'll be like a week after that, after Medusa, at that point when we get this patch. So either the end of December or the start of January. There are some good characters here that are being reworked, some that are not being reworked as much as I'd like. But we're going to be covering all 8 of the characters in this video. Now, before we get to that, though, I do want to give a special word to the sponsor of today's video. Hey everyone, today I've got some incredible news to share about Kabam's Marvel Contest of Champions. To celebrate their 10th anniversary, they're hosting their biggest and most generous giveaway ever. That's right, 10 free champions over 10 days, plus even more amazing rewards. As part of Marvel Contest of Champions' 10th anniversary celebration, players can claim a free champion every single day from December 10th to the 19th. You will need to be sure to log in each specific day to snag that day's champions, so don't miss your chance to expand your roster with these amazing rewards. And later this month, MCOC will be releasing their brand new original champion, Isafine, to the game, who has some brand new gameplay mechanics called the Fractured Power Bar, and one you definitely won't want to miss. I also want to use this time to point out that MCOC has gone through some incredible overhauls, such as the addition of 60 FPS gaming, a new summoner level cap of 70 on its way, and more interface visual improvements from lighting and modeling more. And throughout December, MCOC is also offering generous promo codes for your journey with an extra special gift on Christmas Eve, so be sure not to miss out on this. Don't forget to download Marvel Contest of Champions today using my promo link in the description below to get some extra rewards, and the game is available free on iOS and Android. So, what are you waiting for? Your epic journey starts now. Okay, so zoom. Can we zoom in? Zoom in. Oh, it's too far. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be covering this in characters with no particular order here on this PDF. Now, the highlighted yellow stuff that you're going to see, that's all going to be changes to the character. So, for example, Beast Basic did not change that I'm aware of. That it still remains the same. Now, keep in mind that all of these characters are going to have new era stats, which is on par with what you already see, right? With characters like Lady Deathstrike, maybe, to some varying extent, that they're going to have, like, with seven reds or 3 diamond, they're going to be in, like, the 7 to 10 million hit point range, that kind of thing, right? So some crazy stats probably for most of these characters. Let's get started with Beast Special, though. And I'm not going to explain too much about the characters. If you're not a newer, if you are a newer player, you might not understand the characters that well, because you've probably never touched these characters before. I'll try to do my best to talk about that, though, because I have experience with using these characters in the past. So Beast was the support character for Astonishing X-Men. Therefore, he's also going to be the primary healer for the Immortal X-Men and also for the raid team Uncanny Avengers. So do keep that in mind. So his special now clears 2 negative effects from all allies. This previously used to be a call out specifically to Uncanny and Astonishing X-Men, where it would only do that for them. Now it's everyone. And this is a change kind of like Doctor Strange, where, like, in general, the healers and support characters are now doing all allies rather than just the specific team. Heal self and all allies for 20% of this character's max health. And then this attack all enemies for 300% damage and apply heal block. This part's new. It was just damage before. Now it does apply a heal block, so that's interesting. If this character has a Jean Grey ally, so there you go, clear an additional negative effect from self and all Immortal X-Men and Uncanny Avenger allies. This one's cool. Clear all vulnerables on self and all X-Men and Uncanny Avenger allies. So this is going to be great in Cosmic Crucible in hybrid stuff as well. So again, includes all of the X-Men, not just Immortal X-Men. And this attack gains 100% extra focus. So I do like the vulnerables part. That one is nice. Beast's ultimate. This was just like a massive buff to X-Men character. I think maybe it was Uncanny allies. I forgot what the call out. It's whatever it is on the web right now, right? But they're changing it to all X-Men allies, which is great. The things like this is all going to apply to other characters in general. So offense up, defense up, speed up, regen, That'll all apply. However, in raids, it'll basically do the full Uncanny Avengers allies, except for regen, because it says offense up, defense up, speed up, and generate 1 ability energy for all Uncanny Avenger allies. It does require the full team, but since this is a Spotlight Raid 2 team, presumably, I mean, it's got to be, right? Because it's a mixed origin team, that you won't be running this without the full team, because you're going to need all 5 of them before you can start the node, just like Alpha Flight was for Spotlight 2. Now, Beast's passive, it's pretty much the same, but now it's changed to if that ally is an X-Men, heal that character for more. Apply a regen to the most injured ally, and if it's an X-Men, heal that ally for 20% of this character's max health. It's weird that's not like X-Men or Uncanny Avengers, because, I mean, I guess the other Uncanny Avengers is Jean Grey and Storm, right? So I guess that's 3 X-Men, but then there's Falcon and Hercules who are not. So it's kind of a mixed bag there, I guess. Subject to change, maybe. So that's Beast. Polaris didn't see a lot at all, actually. So that's all. This is all of her original kit, so I'm not going to really cover that. Polaris's ultimate now added in if multiple man or Jean Grey is on the field, then gains 100,000. Supposed to be 100,000% actually, I think. Extra focus to flip regen to bleed. So for those of you who use Polaris, like, she does do a lot of mechanics towards flipping deflects, I think, as well, which is part of the passive. So this part's new. So on cell for ally crit, remove all deflect from the most injured. This is not new. I just wanted to kind of clarify that for you guys, for those who haven't used Polaris, to the most injured enemy that has deflect, you know. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. On Crucible offense, because this is a Crucible offense team. Maybe I should have reiterated the teams, but I'm sure most of you have seen the leak video by now. So Immortal X-Men is Crucible offense. Uncanny Avengers is raids, Spotlight raids, and we have Mighty Avengers, which is War offense. Okay. So on Crucible offense, before this character takes a turn, this character and all allies cannot gain defense down. Okay, I think she's pretty slow, actually, so I guess if anyone else goes, no defense down. On Crucible offense, lower the crit chance of all enemies by 25% per Immortal X-Men ally. So in a full team, they're not going to be critting at all, unless they have over 100, but I don't think that's going to happen, so that's pretty good there. And the rest of the stuff doesn't really apply, because this was like old X-Factor stuff for War offense. Storm. So I will say that the people who got the most wins here is the Uncanny Avengers characters, which is going to be Falcon, Storm, and Beast as far as the amount of changes. Storm had her charge mechanic removed where she required Beast, I believe, to gain extra charges. Now she just gains like or maybe Magic, so now I think it was Magic or Beast. And now she just gains like a flat +2 charge up to a max of, I think that's supposed to be 30 actually, not 20, because the rest of the part says 30. And then attack all adjacent allies. I think before she needed to have charges to do adjacent target damage. Now it does it regardless of if you have charge or not, but she most likely always will. And I think Storm's going to hurt a lot more with these new stats. Storm's special now has a guaranteed apply slow. I believe there was a percentage chance based on charges. I forget something. It's on the web right now. Apply stun for 2 turns to the primary target. Gain +5 charged up to a max of 30. So again, I think that was supposed to be 30. The rest of them say 30. If this character has a Jean Grey ally on Crucible offense, if this character has 3 or more Immortal X-Men, so you don't need the full team, but you do need like 4 members. Or in raids, if you have, I don't know why it says 3 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, because there's never going to be a situation where you don't have the full team, right? Because you need them to start the node. Copy and clear all charged on all enemies to self. So she's stealing charged from the enemies, both in raids and in Crucible offense, and taking it for herself, which is really, really cool, because this is going to be something that you're going to be using before you get to the ult. The ult's going to be like a complete, get out of my face kind of thing. Clear all positive effects on all enemies and apply trauma for 2 turns to all enemies. This is pretty great. It's also unavoidable and cannot be blocked or counterattacked. So this is huge, right? Unavoidable damage, trauma AoE, clearing all positives first and then applying the trauma, and then taking extra charges if you're facing enemies that happen to have charges. So that is pretty cool. I really like that. Really good skill here. And then her ultimate isn't really changed. So this part, if this character has 20 or more charge, this attack cannot miss. It's not unavoidable though, which I guess means she can't be blinded. I think there's some weird things with the way the text work for these things. So I believe that means she can't be blinded. But if they have evade, they might be able to dodge it. I think that's what's happening here. But since it goes up to 30 charges now, this is going to be a crazy amount of damage with new arrow stats. Like it could potentially hit like 3,000% damage hypothetically. So really, really crazy, like where this could go. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Forge might be able to apply more charge to Storm if it's necessary too. Like there might be like some interesting X-Men hybrids that you might be able to do with like, I don't know, like 4 Immortal X-Men allies and like 1 other character. Like there could be a lot of theory crafting here with the other X-Men, especially like characters like Forge, Nightcrawler, right? Some really good standalone characters that you could use with the Immortal X-Men. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for this, so it'll be pretty exciting. Those Crucible players. Storm's passive on turn gain +3 charge. I believe this was just like +1. I forget. Maybe it was +2 with magic. I think it was up to a max of 30. She gains speed up to X-Men, X-Force, and Uncanny Avenger allies on her turn. And on X-Men, X-Force, and Uncanny Avenger allies' turn, she has a chance to grant assist now to a random ally. So that's just being extended over to the Uncanny Avenger side of things. So that's Storm. Huge change to that special attack. Wow, that's going to be really, really powerful. And then we have Invisible Woman. Again, no, kind of jumping around a bit, so no particular order here. Invisible Woman, basic stays the same. The special does add some new functionality with the Mighty Avengers, so now we're diving into War Offense. Invisible Woman is Mighty Avengers War Offense. Clear all negative effects from self and all Mighty Avenger allies. Does all the other normal stuff about clearing negative effects. And then she talks about Safeguard, but I guess because Safeguard's a thing now. So she has this thing where she clears stealth from the highest health ally and basically applies sorry, stealth's everyone else, but then it pops the character out of stealth with the highest health so that they essentially tank, right? Because they happen to be out. And then they get 3 deflect and immunity for 2 turns. So if you're not used to using Invisible Woman, and I guess they added this text in because now we have Safeguard, which wasn't really a thing before when Invisible Woman was meta. That's there. And then this also gains an assist from 1 random ally and another random Mighty Avenger ally. So it does damage, right? It does damage via assist. This is new. So at least it's better than nothing, right? Invisible Woman's ultimate. So it does apply offense down for 2 turns to all enemies and does a lot of barrier. That's still going to happen. Now they've added damage. This is interesting. So outside of war, it does do attack the most enemy with the most speed bar for 300% piercing. On war offense, do it again for 300% piercing. So once outside of war, 2 times in war offense, and it also applies stun to that enemy as well. So I guess if they're, again, going to take their turn soon, then they're going to get stunned, hopefully. Invisible Woman's passive, they added some more war offense stuff for Mighty Avengers. So on spawn, on war offense, bury yourself and all Mighty Avenger allies for 30% of this character's max health. On war offense, the first time this character or any Mighty Avenger ally drops below 50% health, clear all, it's a preservation mechanic, right? Clear all negative effects on that character, apply defense up and stealth to that character, and then more barrier. So yeah, that's pretty common, I think, these days. Whether because she's the protector technically, even though she's tanking by making somebody else with the highest health pop up. Now, what I am also, so this part, right, because she still has that part where she's gonna ping people with barrier, and barrier is gonna be quite common on the Mighty Avengers team. Now, even though it's only 250% damage with new era stats, I am very curious how much this ends up stacking up to. Like, what kind of pings are we gonna see? Like over 1 million damage, like with Invisible Woman? That could be kind of scary. So I'd be interested to see how that works out for her if you do decide to build her up. Falcon. This one's pretty interesting. Now, Falcon really kind of focuses on bonus attacks against primary people with positive effects. Bonus attacks against people with positive effects, and the more they have, the more it does. So the basic doesn't do anything different. It stays the same. The special, however, which is the speed bar mechanic part, this does change. So it does the same thing from before. And then in raids, if this character has 4 or more Uncanny Avenger allies, or on War Offense with 4 Mighty Avenger allies, fill speed bar for self and all Mighty Avenger and Uncanny allies by an additional 50%. So it's doing all of this speed bar plus 50% more in raids and in War Offense with the full team. So that's pretty wild, and it's also unavoidable. Now, I think this is because it used to ping evade. I think maybe for the stealth part, I think it used to ping evades. So I don't know. That's a weird thing. I don't know why they included that, but yeah, apparently it's unavoidable and cannot be blocked. I'm not sure exactly why that's in there. I think it's something to do with this. I remember that from back in the day that this was a small issue. But anyways, huge speed bar mechanic for the team. I guess you don't really get much functionality though if you use them standalone. So that's the only thing there. But he's going to survive a lot longer, right? So I think he might have some plug and play viability. Now, Falcon's ultimate, this has changed slightly. So now for each positive effect on an enemy, it bonus attacks for 200% piercing. I believe the way that it is stated right now, it does some like 80% damage plus 50% piercing, something like that. Now they've just made it way more piercing damage, and it's just flat out piercing damage for that. In raids and in war offense, this applies bleed to all enemies. So 1 bleed to all enemies. That's fine. But you're gonna like he's gonna punish the shit out of people with like safeguard and a crap ton of buffs. He's gonna hit really hard, and it's piercing damage, so it's gonna hurt. Falcon's passive on spawn in raids apply immunity to self and all Uncanny Avenger allies, and also on war offense as well for Mighty Avenger allies. Before this character takes a turn, this character and all Mighty and Uncanny Avenger allies cannot gain slow. This is pretty good too. I think he has like an average speed. I forget what his speed stat is, so I'm not sure if it's going to stay the same or not, or if it's going to get a buff. I don't know how many of these characters are actually going to get a speed stat buff or not, because some of them, especially the older characters, were kind of on the slower end. He also gains block chance and block chance plus 20. Yeah, I don't know why I stalled out there. For Mighty Avengers and Uncanny Avenger allies. So he's gonna have like basically a guaranteed block essentially with the full team, and he does have a slightly higher block amount. This is a bit rare. I think Captain America has something like that as well. So that's passive. That's Falcon. I can't even talk right. That's Falcon. He is going to be pretty good as far as the amount of changes go. Like I said, Falcon, Storm, and Beast got the most. I think we still have 1 or 2 more. We have Vision and Scarlet Witch to talk about as well. So Vision didn't really change that much. His basic's still the same. The special adds something new on war offense if this character has 3 or more Mighty Avenger allies. Can't be blocked or dodged. And I think that's more to do with the block part of the ability block, right? Because I mean, there is a chance that negatives can be blocked, or like doesn't land because of deflect and things like that, or just blocking mechanics. So that's added there too. Vision's ultimate, for those of you who don't remember, in raids, it reduces speed bar. Now, this is also going to apply in war offense. It's also going to apply trauma and ability block to all support enemies. If you have Scarlet Witch and 3 or more Mighty Avenger allies, this is essentially the full team. Although I guess Scarlet Witch would also be included in Mighty Avengers, so maybe it's just 4 members. Either way, it applies trauma and ability block to all support enemies, and that is almost all of Astral. So, right, we're with 3 support characters on the Astral team. It also reduces speed bar by 30% for all enemies. So, just taking that part from the raids and using it in war offense. So, that's cool. If you're interested in building the Mighty Avengers team, has passive on war offense, apply 2 deflect to self and all Mighty Avenger allies on spawn. So, that's nothing crazy. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, I suppose. That's it for Vision. Nothing super exciting. Scarlet Witch got a little bit more. So now Scarlet Witch is basic, which already does negative stats effects. On that, it's going to gain an assist from a random Vision ally. So I guess he's going to come in and basic punch. When Scarlet Witch does her basic, Scarlet Witch special now heals a random Vision ally to 100% of this character's max health. Before it was just self and Quicksilver. It does all the redistribution stuff. That's still the same. Scarlet Witch's ultimate. If Vision is an ally, this attack deals double damage to all enemies. Some people might have forgot about this because not a lot of people were using Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver together necessarily. And on war offense, if this character has 3 or more Mighty Avenger allies, reduce the duration of defense up on each enemy. I think that was supposed to say by 2. I don't know why I didn't finish that up and post there. I think it was supposed to be by 2, right? So it's a decay system, like we've seen with Thanos Endgame when he chucks his ultimate. That in that case, it removes everything. For some reason, Scarlet Witch's ultimate only reduces defense up by 2 turns. So if they have Safeguard, it is still going to decay defense up, just nothing else. Not as OP as the Thanos Endgame one. And if Quicksilver or Vision, in this case, is an ally, this attack cannot be blocked. Scarlet Witch is passive on spawn on war offense if this character has 3 or more mystic enemies. You might recall this text from Hercules, right? So I'm not going to be covering Hercules and Jean Grey again. Catch my other video if you want to kind of recap on that. Generate 2 ability energy for a random Vision ally. And then I think the intent on that is to get Vision up to his ultimate, because I don't think that he starts with it, right? So I just don't know what this callout is for. Maybe I'm not too big into the war meta, so that's why I don't really understand what this is meant to do. Obviously, it's going to work on Night Stalkers, but are there people maybe using, say, Astral and Mephisto together, or Astral, Mephisto, and Odin? Like, in what scenario right now in the meta are you running into 3 mystic enemies? And that's what I'm not completely sure of. So if there's some of you, let me know in the comments down below, what you think this is. Like, I don't know what this is necessarily calling out for. Hercules is the same thing. Hercules, as though, does work in raids, so maybe that's going to come up more. But in war offense, I just really don't know. But I don't pay attention to war too much. When an enemy attacks a Quicksilver or a Vision ally, she's going to retaliate, basically. So Vision ally is just being added to a lot of things on death. If there's a Vision ally, basically just apply a bunch of buffs to Vision. And then if Vision dies, she gains all of these buffs. Okay, so that's Scarlet Witch. And then finally, I think this is the last one, we have Cable. Fortunately, Cable gained absolutely nothing on his basic, gained absolutely nothing on his special. He gained a little bit on his ultimate, so now it's on kill, fill speed bar for self, random Deadpool ally, and a random Jean Grey ally for 70%. That's the same number that he has right now. And then if this character has a Jean Grey ally, flip 2 positive effects, 2 negative effects on the primary target. Unfortunately, this comes after the damage, not before. I love flips that happen like at the start before the damage happens. And then flip 2 negative effects to positive effects on self. Also, they've added the "this cannot be blocked" text as well. So all this is with Jean Grey, though. It was always unavoidable, I think, but the way that the text was laid out was a little bit different. Cable's passive, now on turn, has guaranteed to apply counter to a random mutant ally or self, and then 50% chance to apply counter to another ally. And keep in mind that Cable is part of Immortal X-Men for that Cosmic Crucible offense team. So otherwise, not a lot to Cable. That's a little bit unfortunate. I would say, if I have to say, the biggest winners on this team, on this set of characters, it's going to be the ones from the raid teams, right? It's going to be Falcon, for sure. Has a lot of updated text. Invisible Woman actually got a bit. I would be curious to see what ends up happening with her and how much damage is she doing on her passive with her pings. That kind of thing. So that could be quite powerful, but I mean, I have to see that in practice. And then Storm, for sure, got a boatload of stuff on her special, so that should be really exciting. And the possibility of going past 20 charges. I don't know how realistic that is, though. In battle, that's a lot of charges. I'd have to see when it plays out, especially in conjunction with Jean Grey. But if she can get out like past 20 charges, that'd be insane damage. And then Polaris didn't really get much, and then Beast got a little bit more, I think, here. So definitely Storm and Falcon probably got the most. All right, and that's our wrap. I think there was a lot to talk about here in today's video with all that kit stuff. There was a lot to cover. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I also want to give a special thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Kabam and Marvel Contest of Champions. If you do want to check that out, don't forget to use the promo code Boilon's MCOC Welcome, and you can find a link to download the game in the description down below. There should be a pinned comment as well. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone. And until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.